I'm on a quest to read every Star Wars novel ever written, because each one is unique and special. And today I finished off the second audiobook in the Clone Wars Gambit duology, Siege by Karen Miller. Anakin and Obi-Wan's mission to Lantebe has gone off the rails, and they have to hide out in a local village by pretending that they're Lantebans who've been off-planet for a while. This book picks up just a couple of hours after the last one left off, and like I said last time, that always gives me a little bit of pause. This is one of only a handful of to-be-continueds in the Star Wars universe, and while we're no stranger to trilogies or sagas, usually they're several complete stories that are just attached at the ends. This is very much the second half of the book, and that gives me just a little bit of an odd feeling. Not too much though, because I have to say, this was fantastic. Everything that was strong about the first book is even stronger in this one, and Anakin and Obi-Wan are being pushed to their absolute limits, running themselves ragged trying to fight off the Separatist threat that's now closing in on this kind village that's taken them in. Anakin and Obi-Wan are relying on these people for help, but they also feel tremendous guilt for the trouble that they've brought to their door. It's a great conflict, and Miller does a fantastic job presenting a variety of opinions from the townspeople, from Obi-Wan, from Anakin, and making them all seem like they're coming from reasonable places. No one is ever like cartoonishly wrong or clearly just an obstacle or a villain. The only person who I would call a problem is still coming from a reasonable place. This one also does a great job contrasting Anakin and Obi-Wan's characters as they respond to the conflict. Sometimes they find themselves on opposite sides of a debate, but it always feels like it's coming from a place very genuine to the characters. Like when the Separatists are closing in and Obi-Wan wants to surrender themselves to spare the village any further pain. Meanwhile, Anakin wants to stay and fight while they have the chance, potentially putting the village in greater danger. It's a difficult conflict, and both of them argue their perspectives well. My concerns about Obi-Wan from the last book are gone, and he is in full form in this one. This is one of my favorite Obi-Wan portrayals in the series. But someone else in full form is Palpatine, and this book falls into one of my favorite categories: prequel-era books with Palpatine as a perspective character. Because his dialogue is all the kind and patient Supreme Chancellor, wisely taking counsel from Yoda and from Bail Organa, but his inner monologue and the prose around his dialogue are the Sith Lord Sidious, who feels nothing but contempt for the little green troll and that persistently annoying senator. He's so much fun, and the author does such a good job portraying someone who is just pure, unabashed evil. Palpatine gets plenty of focus as he learns that Anakin has been dispatched on a dangerous mission without his knowledge, and he fears for the safety of his future apprentice. There are a couple of scenes of him expressing his loathing for Dooku, plotting on the future, and waiting for his plans to come to fruition. He's fantastic all around. In that vein, this continues to be an excellent run-up to Revenge of the Sith, to the extent that this probably would have been a better middle chapter of the trilogy. Like, yes, the Clone Wars have to break out, Anakin and Padme have to get married, but I've seen it suggested that the important beats from the Phantom Menace should have just been flashbacks within Attack of the Clones, and if that hypothetical movie were Chapter 1, these two books were Chapter 2, and then Revenge of the Sith were Chapter 3, I think it would be a more solid trilogy overall. One last thing I liked about this is that it shows that Bail Organa was also fully aware of Padme and Anakin's relationship. Like, he doesn't know that they're married per se, but it sets up that she's just as bad at hiding her feelings as Anakin is, and the same way that Obi-Wan knows there's something between them, Bail can immediately tell, after like 2 days together with them, that there's something there. And Padme knows that Bail knows, but she also knows that she can trust Bail. And while I know that that might be controversial, as a lot of people see the secrecy around the relationship as kind of pivotal, I like it. I think it adds a lot of depth to their friendship. Overall, I am really impressed with this duology. I haven't really heard anything about it as I've been diving into the Star Wars books, but outside of its disgustingly ugly covers, this is easily one of the best Clone Wars era books I've read. I give it an 8 out of 10, easy.